Alright, writing the equation of a line. This time we're going to do the problem we did graphically with calculation only. So in the last video we made a graph of the 2 points they gave us, found the slope between them, and then found the y-intercept by passing through the y-axis. Alright, this time we're going to work with those same 2 points, but we're going to use a calculating method that's more surefire, especially when that y-intercept is a messy number. So, there's our 2 points. We have the same goal. Let's write down our goal, and that is to get an equation in y equals mx plus b form. So write an equation in this form. And we don't know the slope, and we don't know the y-intercept, and those 2 things are what we're trying to find. Find slope, find y-intercept. Alright, now the slope, you know how to do it. When you're given 2 points, you've got a formula to find the slope. Do you remember what it is? It's m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Hopefully you haven't forgotten that already. And we've got 2 pairs of points that we can use to calculate that slope. Let's write them down. They are -1, 5, and 2, -4. Now remember, when you're using the slope equation, it is imperative that you label these points. Oh, and get them labeled right too. These should be both 1s, and these should be both 2s. Now, I could make this pair the 2s and this pair the 1s. It really doesn't matter, because you'll get the same answer in the end. So don't worry about order, but make sure that one pair are 1s and the other pair are 2s. Alright, let's get stuff in the right place. Our y2, in this case, is -4. Subtract, don't forget, it's subtraction. Subtract y1, which is 5, over x2, from that pair we started with, it's a 2. Subtract, don't forget to subtract, x1. Now x1 is a -1. You haven't got a negative sign yet, you've got a subtraction sign, so don't forget to also put a negative sign on that 1. Carefully calculate this. Use a calculator if you're not sure. -4, take away 5 more, is -9. Or you can think of it as plus a -5. Add the opposite. 2 subtract -1, that's like 2 add a +1, which is 3. Now if you can, divide them out. If you can't, if they don't go into each other nicely, then just leave them a fraction, but in this case they do. -9 divided by 3 is -3. This is my m, or my slope. Alright, keep that handy, you're going to need it in a little bit. Now, we also need the y-intercept. So here is where we go back to the process we learned in the last problem, where we fill in all the things we know and we solve for the y-intercept. What are the things we know? Well, for our equation, y equals mx plus b, we know an m, -3. We actually know 2 x's and 2 y's. We've got 2 pairs of points to choose from. Pick one of them. Doesn't matter which one. I'll just go with this one for kicks and giggles. This is going to be my x and this is going to be my y to put in the general equation to solve for b. So let's get it started. Y is 5. Here comes my equal sign. M is -3. That comes next. X goes in the parentheses for multiplication, and my x that goes with that 5 is a -1. And then the only thing I don't know is b. Remember what you do next? We solve for b. First we calculate this multiplication here. So 5 equals -3 times -1 is 3 plus b. Get b alone by subtracting 3 from each side, or just use common sense. 3 plus what makes 5? You know that that's going to be 2. So this is my y-intercept. Alright, those were the two things I needed, the slope and the y-intercept, to write an equation in general form. Y equals blank x plus blank. What goes where? The slope is the coefficient of x. Here it is. The y-intercept is the number that hangs out by itself. Here it is. And if you will notice, this, our final answer, is exactly the same thing we got when we did the graphical method. Y equals negative 3x plus 2. Again, this is a more sure way calculating versus kind of guessing on the graph.